Alright, here we go, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're getting back into some more Fallout 4. I'm not doing my playthrough series, I'm not continuing with that anyways, I should say. Somebody actually in the comments, one of my viewers requested that I do a build here at the Tenpines Bluff location. So I figured I would do that because they wanted to see some live building and get some tips and tricks. I'm already here. I haven't done really anything. Previously, when I visited this settlement, I dropped down this little guard shack here, and that's about it. I don't really have any plan. We're gonna just go with the flow and kind of go with it as we go along. It's not a huge location, so as with any settlement that I do, I know for sure I'm gonna put a big junk wall around this border, and then I kind of just have to plan out. There's a lot of provisioners over there, it looks like, too. The only thing I really need to plan out is going to be where I want this main entrance to be. And based off of the way that this place is already kind of set up, I think there's a main road somewhere over here. But as for this settlement, oftentimes I have seen hostile people walking over this hill. So that's why I had this guard post set up. But this already just kind of seems like a main entrance with the way that this little concave or pathway is here in the ground. Like it's washed out, it looks like, by water or something. So I'll probably try to keep that as the main entrance of sorts. Obviously this building here on the right you can't get rid of. I can move this if I want to and put that off somewhere else for right now. That's not in the way. So yes, move that out of the way. I'm sorry, sir, but I guarantee you I'm gonna need to move this out of the way as well because I'm gonna need to put a wall there, I think. So let's command him to just stand over here for a second. We'll get right back to you, sir. He'll be the guarder of the potatoes for right now. So just like I said, somebody commented requesting to see this build. I'll probably pop their name up on the screen at some point. I also had somebody else comment that wasn't believing that I was playing this vanilla no mod, so I can show my installed list. So everything that I've got installed, if I have anything from the Creation Club, it was just automatically installed by Bethesda because they worked with somebody or some creators somehow, and it's a pack. And then the other stuff is just like, you know, maybe I've got like, look, these Pip-Boy paint jobs, but those aren't gonna mod my game or anything. And then as for the actual mod list, I've got everyone's best friend, and then these are two just graphics overhaul mods to make the game look better, and none of them are enabled right now, to include this everyone's best friend, which is literally just a mod that allows for you to have Dogmeat as a companion as well as any other person. So Dogmeat is like a permanent companion, but again, I don't even have that enabled right now. It has absolutely nothing to do with building, so I've got no benefits there. Anyways, enough talking about that. We'll go over to junk fence. Here we go. Oh wait, no, I don't actually want junk. Okay, well maybe I want, sorry, I'm tripping all over the place right now. I just want the gate. As you can see, it looks like it will not fit here. But if we grab something fancy, what I'll do, tip number one for this video, the pillar glitch or the carpet glitch, depending on what building materials you're using. In this case, I've got this big ass fence, so I'm gonna go into the concrete section and go to this concrete wall that's literally just a small pillar. And if I place this down right in front of this, so I'll go as close as I can and then back up a little bit till it's just barely turning orange. If I group select this by holding A or X or whatever respective button it is for you. I am on PC, but I play on an Xbox controller. So you group select that. Now you can come back over here. Tip number two, we're already on tip number two. Again, for controller people, whether you're on Xbox or you're on PlayStation, if you hold the left bumper and press A while you have an item selected or in your hand, you can make that item go up and down. When you're not holding the bumper and you're just holding A, it goes back and forth. Or like I said, if you're on PlayStation, it would be X. So hold A and the left bumper, it goes up and down. Just hold A, it goes forward and back. So that's a neat little trick that some people don't actually know that you can utilize when in build mode. So I saw it going orange right there. That actually might work out just perfectly. Okay, so we'll test fit that. We'll see how that looks. So we've got the ever so slightest little gap there on the left-hand side, it looks like. Definitely not big enough to bother me at all, though. It looks extremely natural to be like that. And then on the right-hand side, obviously this side's partially built into the ground, it looks like, pretty much. So I think that actually looks pretty good. It looks natural. It doesn't look weird and buggy or anything. The only thing I need to do is just go back into here, grab this, and we're not going to scrap it. We're going to actually store that. Cool. So now we got our first piece of our wall up, the gate, and it should function perfectly fine. Okay, so the left one goes into the floor just a little bit. And what we can do... Okay, let's see how that does. That might even look better on the that other side as well. Store the pillar. Okay, that's a little bit better. It's still going through the wall just a tad bit, but it's not that bad. Honestly, that doesn't bother me at all. And that's even better lined up there. Cool. So then, now that we've got that building kind of incorporated into our wall a little bit, it'll be pretty easy to continue that wall on this right-hand side. So there's probably not going to be much over on this side. We'll probably put 1 or 2 walls, and then it'll jet straight back and go behind this big broken down house, which that is going to be our main part of the build. I'm going to hopefully make that into a fully renovated and fixed home by the end of this. We'll start on the side that I feel like is the easy side, which is actually this right side, because I only need to put 2 walls there. And we're gonna go into the wood section and the wood walls. I always use all wood walls, but I like to switch it up a little bit so the build has some variation to it. So between this shack wall and then the other 2 or 3 I think that are on the end, yeah, these 3 as well, I'll just kind of use like 2 here or 3 there and 1 there and 4 there. Just switch it up, make sure it has some variation, and it just again makes the build just look a little, or appear to be a little bit more natural. All right, so we've got some red showing up here. Oh, I've got orange there, but I want it to be all the way on the far edge of this building. And on that right-hand side, I want it to be sunken into the ground just a little bit. So, again, we're going to pull out our OCD pillar. Put that about 1.5 inches away from the front face. Try to just jiggle this around until we can start seeing some orange popping up in places. There we go. So we got some orange there. That looks pretty good. I think I like that, actually. Oh, I need to sink it more actually on the right-hand side. I didn't notice that. So this is going to be a pretty short fence. But what we'll do over here to compensate for the shorter fence is we'll probably have a guard post there as well. Okay, so again, that's not perfectly touching everywhere, but nobody's going to be looking at it from 2 inches away. It looks like a perfectly complete wall from back here in my opinion. So we'll double up on that. We'll swap it to this one actually. And I won't snap it to that piece because again I'll use the pillar to sink it into the ground, but I'll use this as a good reference point, and it should already be straight now as well. And then now we just sink it into the ground just like that, and that shouldn't be sticking out. Nope, not really. Pretty good. And then like I said, I'll probably go into the defense section here, and not only will I have one of these back behind here, probably like that, something, but I'll also put on this left hand side a turret to go along with that. So this is going to be the long and boring part. Now that I've gotten over like the introduction stuff on showing you how to build the border wall that I do, I'll finish the rest of it up and get right back to you as soon as I am done with that border wall. And almost like magic, it's finished, I think. There's a small little gap around the backhand side where this house is. I wanted to leave that open for now at least, because what I'm going to do to this house, it may or may not work if this fence is in the wall. So I kept it open just here for now, but other than that, I'll also probably slide this. I don't know why this one's magically floating, but a lot of these I sunk into the ground a little bit just so they're not floating like that. Quickly grab this and put that just like that. Okay. One other thing to mention too, I am on PC. I don't think it's cheating, and I think it's for the purpose of the video, but I did enable God mode because it gives me the opportunity to use 999 of everything. And then I don't have to go out and spend hours searching for junk. I can just make the video for you guys, and that'd be it. It's the only reason I use it, and I only use it on this character, and this character I have is literally only meant for settlement building now because he's pretty much maxed out and I've done everything, so it doesn't bother me, and I'm doing tutorials and teaching and still having fun with my building, so that's all that matters, is having fun. Anyways, so now that we've completed that wall, like I said with this building, is we're gonna make this a complete building. So first I'm gonna move this bed out of the way, and then we're gonna build a floor base. So from my understanding, I think I've measured this out before, and this floor is exactly 1.5 floor tiles wide. You're able to perfectly fit in here. You'll be able to see I'm able to perfectly fit that. Well, we'll use these as an example, but you can perfectly fit this in here, and it pretty much goes wall to wall, and you can't even tell. So the idea is to build a 3 by 1/2 base floor, and then you just build walls up and around that, and then you use the pillar or the carpet glitch to just simply slide that base inside of this broken building that we've got here. So I'll show kind of how I'm going to try to piece this flooring together and get it all worked out outside. And then we'll do the best we can to slip it in there.
What do you mean by that?
So, like I said, it's 3 by 2. So we want to grab, I guess we can go with the lighter colored wood. That looks good. Alright, so we'll do one there, and one there. Oh, and look, that allows for us to use the half slabs. I was going to go into this section, or the scaffolding section also has half slabs, or whatever you want to call them as well. Anyways, not getting distracted again. Cool, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and then we'll put these halfies on the back side. 3. And then, that should be able to slip in there nice and easy now. Pretty much with no issues. Obviously it's not going to fit in there right now, but okay. And then from there we'll get some walls on it as well. So our best choice for walls will either be the barn walls or the warehouse walls, depending on the kind of look you're going for, I imagine. So in this case I'm gonna try out the warehouse walls, I think, and we'll see what we can get with that. I don't want them to be too patchy, obviously, but if I use these or if I use the barn walls, I also have access to these little broken up half walls that will be useful for when I'm... Oh, so you know what? I actually just had something in mind. I do need these on the front side because, as you can see, these windows and stuff are here, so it'll be a lot easier to not completely cover up and lose those windows with those broken half walls, because then, see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? It fits right there, or it will fit right there. Okay, so we'll put one there. We do want the back side as well. Actually, do I want wooden walls? This is a wooden house, and I feel like it'll be more cozy if it's wooden. Although these are red, let's give them a shot and see how it looks. It might come out looking bad, but it's trial and error. I didn't have a plan for this. I'm just going with the flow, so we'll see what happens. I do want maybe a little bit of windows, so it won't go in the middle section, but maybe we can do some windows on the left and right. If we do some small ones, we can maybe do those, and they won't get covered up completely. And then we can slap one of those in there. And again, another one on that side. And then let's take a peek over here, because we'll want maybe those guys there. Let's see how that looks. Oh, it looks like those are the only ones that are going to want to work anyways. Okay, so we'll put that there. They're for their specific side. I'm stupid. I forgot about that. So we got that one on the left, that one on the right. Okay, so now we have our walls and our floor that we can slide in there. So I'll show you again. Pick up this whole thing, and we're just going to pretty much... Oh, look at that. It's almost working even without the pillar glitch. The only thing is as you can see, just where the wooden planks go up to the main entrance, it's floating. So that's why we use the pillar glitch, so we can sink it down just a little bit. But that being said, we can do a little... Might be able to do a little test fit without messing this up, because these walls shouldn't be too close to where it'll grab onto them. Anyways, so there's our base. We can generally see how that's going to fit. This one does look like it's going to cover up that window, but that's... Oh well. If anything, we might even be able to get rid of that piece completely. Might not even need that, but I'll leave it for now. So the only other thing we need on this now is a front face. So we're going to need an entrance, a doorway, and then we need to cover up these last two sides. Those are a little worn and torn. That might actually not look too bad if we do those. Let's see how it looks over here. Those ones are like worn and torn a little bit, but I think that's okay for the sake of this build. This building's already creaky and broken and messed up. Okay, so we got two different colors of wood, blue and red, but I don't think it looks bad. And I think once we get a nice solid roof on it, it'll be even better. So let's slide this guy back out. Now that we've figured that out, grab this whole thing, slide it back in front of the building, and then we'll figure out what we want to do for our roof. This shouldn't be too hard. We're pretty open to what we have because the roof is completely destroyed, and I think all of these walls exceed any of these damaged walls. So I'll try to go for a more traditional look. I know that these guys will fit pretty nicely on the back end here, but with the way that this half slab drops down, I'm gonna want to figure out how to do this little overhang here, because that will look nice. But do I need to do, what is it? Yep, there we go. So if we do that, that will clear up that gap. Sorry, I'm thinking about and doing things all at the same time. I'm just trying to speak them out so you at least are getting some useful knowledge out of this. I didn't plan this out, so I'm trying things as I go. So although I know how to build fairly well in this game, everything's trial and error, whether or not you're an experienced builder or you're brand new. So we got that cool little overhang now. That should look pretty decent when we slip that in there. The only thing we have to do now is get our sides in. So, cannot fully remember where that piece is. We just need the end caps. Where's the end cappers? Are they walls? Oh yeah, they're probably walls. Yeah, here we go. Slap one of those in there. Get a righty in there. Come back over to this side. Get another righty. And our lefty. Okay. And now that we've gotten that whole building finished, I think I feel comfortable sliding it into place now. So again, like I've said before, what we will do to do that is, again, grab the concrete wall, stick it as close as we can without it being red. Make sure you're group selecting everything. And then we'll use the first trick that I taught again. Just press A and slide it as far away from you as you can, because that's gonna be extremely helpful when you're trying to line this up. And then sink it into the ground a little bit. Anything that's solid ground, it won't let you go through solid ground. Do that this time. And to try to get this the best lined up that we can, we'll use this wall to our advantage. So you can see it's too far forward on the left hand side right now because that right hand side is sunken back into the wall. So if we just slowly kind of turn this and walk into place, eventually we'll get it where both sides of this are phasing through at pretty much the same exact level. And I think I've got it fairly close now even. So once you've got that as close as you can get it, and it's not going to be perfect, you just want it to be as close as you can get it. Once you've got it as close as you can though, then you'll start sinking it into the ground and figuring out how it's going to line up. So I've got orange there, but I don't want that floating on the concrete. I'm going to mess around with this for a little bit, see if I can slide it in. When I eventually find a good combination of placement of my concrete wall and the building itself, I'll come back because it might take a second. There we go. Okay, we're getting there. We are getting there. This is the closest we've been. So we're too far into the ground right now, I feel like. Okay, wait, no, maybe not. That might be just the right amount of in the ground. Okay, so we'll leave it just like that. It's pretty much saying it's like, damn, near perfect right there. It's not wanting me to move anywhere else. So I think I'm going to go ahead and allow that to be placed just like that. We'll do a double check, come around. And it looks like, obviously it's not going to be perfect, but it looks about as perfect as it's going to get. I think I'm happy with the way that that turned out. Obviously this overhang looks a little weird right now, but I'm going to make this into a whole front porch thing, hopefully. And it should look a little bit better once I'm done with that. But yeah, there we go. There's our building. Our building inside of our building. So that's going to be our main housing space, I suppose, at this location. I might build one or two other larger buildings, maybe put one closer to the corner over here where these broken down walls are, and then potentially something in this hill area. It's hard to figure it out when you don't come in with a plan, but that's the fun of it, is just kind of going as you go. And then a quick walk around the full perimeter just so you can get a peek at it. We've got our actual workshop up there. This prefab that's always here. Still got our cool little gate that we put up as our first piece. And then I think something would be nice to go up on top of this hill. I don't know what exactly, but I like the idea of something there in that spot. And then, yeah, goes behind this bush a little bit. Got our farm here for now. I just moved this guy over here momentarily because he was in the way while he was up on the hill. And then it ends there on the left again. So we want to finish up the building that we did. So I'm going to start off with the porch now. See how I want to piece together that. I don't really have a plan. I haven't done a porch in Fallout before, so we'll see how this comes out. I'm going to use the barn half slabs again though, and see if I can do something like this maybe. Oh no. Let's see if I can double those up. Oh shit, don't do that. Pull these away. We'll build it out here. We'll do 2. We want 3. Come on. We're going into the ground. There we go. Okay, so we got 3 there. Grab this guy, see how this looks. Move this over as far to the left as we can. That grabs still, that's good. What about when we get this up against the wall?
2,000 years later.
All right, so if you can't already tell by the change in t-shirt, it's a different day. And by the not so much change in location, I didn't really accomplish much. I finished off when I was trying to get this front porch done, and this wooden slab that's in the middle here was kind of blocking me from being able to do anything that I wanted there. And using the pillar method or the carpet glitch doesn't allow for you to sink anything into the ground far enough to where it will be functional as a walking path. So I just left that there, and instead I grabbed 2 1x1 concrete slabs from, I think so I went into the warehouse section and I grabbed the 1x1 floor tiles to allow for me to just kind of build 2 little individual decks in front of this building, and I think that still came out pretty decently. With my downtime, I did also come up with a bit of a plan for the rest of this location and what I want to do with it, and I think it'll actually come out fairly good. So what I'm going to start off with today is moving this bed. I'm not going to completely finish off this building yet because I don't fully know what I want to do inside of it still, but I know I'm not going to bring any other people here. It's going to be or act as more of a trading post for passing settlers, or as you can see, we've got provisioners here that want to come in and out of this settlement. For right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just stage out everything to make sure that I've got enough space for it all. So what I first want to do is tell this dude to move out of the way, and I'm actually going to cancel that, and I'm going to store this because I want for him to be on a larger defense post. And I'm going to put more of a permanent one in this location, and then we won't move that one. So what I'll do is I'll set this here. Wow, that cow is extremely loud today, huh? I might have to turn the audio down for them a little bit. What I'll do, though, is I will grab another concrete pillar, and I absolutely love these pillars because they can sink anything and everything into the ground with no issues. What we'll do is we'll put this just above that fence, and we still want it fully submerged, and we don't want it phasing through the fence wall itself. Back up just enough where it's almost touching but not really, and then having that properly synced into the ground on the left hand side, or sunk into the ground, sorry, not synced. All right, I think that looks pretty good. You can see on the underneath side there it's floating a little bit, but nobody's really going to be looking that hard at it, and it's pressed as far up against this wall as we can get. So if I delete that concrete wall, now we've got a more permanent guard stand over here that overlooks the front side of our encased little settlement here. What's up, buddy? Now we're going to reassign you to your permanent guard station, and just next to him, like I was saying way early on in the build, I'll put here, I'll stage it out so you can get an idea of what I do for defenses when it comes to turrets. So I get these little 1x1 scaffoldings, and I like to just peek them out just a little bit above what the wall is. So this crossbar here goes maybe 5 inches above this wall, max. And then we just grab one of these little guys. It really doesn't matter how you place it. I'm very OCD, so I tend to like my planks facing with me along with my character. I don't do them horizontally, I do them vertically. So we do that, and then I grab 3 of these scaffolding rails and just make sure we've got 3 of these stuck on the sides. There we go. And then, as you can see, oh, I fell off. As you can see, though, it builds this perfect little nest for a turret to go in. So we go to our defense section, and then we go to our level 2 turret, and then you can just nicely slip that in there and put it right centered up. And I will probably slide this a little more forward. Obviously, this little wooden plank that's connected to this building was stopping me from pushing it forward right now, but I was just setting that down as an example so you knew what my turret posts look like when I put those up. Hey man, you're really gonna have to shut your ass up. Okay, moving on from that, I'll stage out the rest of this now. So I want to put a little guard shack up here. That's going to be more like a visitor's center slash welcome center shack. I'll probably put a guard desk in there, and I'll figure out what else I'm going to do in there later. For right now, I'm going to just use these wooden prefabs to give me an idea. I'm not going to set on these prefab designs, but I know that I want some sort of structure to go up here, because then that will act as a secondary guard shack slash living quarters for that individual. And then over on the right hand side of this, since I want this to be like some sort of trading post, I'll probably have like 1, 2, and if I can, maybe 3 different shop-esque builds over here. So maybe like clothing, food, beverages, and one other thing I don't know right now. And then in the front of the farm, or behind the farm I should say, since this is like a trading post slash a rest stop maybe, I'll also have some like hotel rooms that people can stay in temporarily, of course, but we'll give them an option to have some... Why are there random melons right there? We will give them an option to shack up though for the night and trade goods or buy goods before they leave. Okay, I want to completely delete those melons. And then like I said earlier on, that main building is going to be the 2 individuals that are here right now assigned. So this settler who's working on the farm will be staying in that building, and then I believe the other one is the actual guard. Everybody else is just provisioners or traders passing through. Anyways, back to the hotel rooms. We're gonna do maybe like 3 solid rooms. So we'll do 1 there, and I want these to be connected. Okay, so we'll slide that over just a little bit. Obviously, these aren't gonna be floating like they are. I'll put some sort of supports underneath them as well. But like I said, I'm just staging it out to get a better idea of exactly how I want to do this. So we'll do a 2-story, 6-room build there. They probably will only be 1 block wide, and then they'll just have a door right on the front face, and then simply just a bed and some storage for supplies. Because like I said, it's just a rest stop. They're not here to stay for a week or a month. They just need to get their rest, trade their supplies, and be on their way. And then lastly, in this corner, what we'll do is we'll have like a power section. So obviously I need to set something up to feed power to this entire facility. My plan is to just basically fence off this whole corner. Again, don't judge, it's all looking sloppy right now, but I'm just throwing pieces down to get an idea, or so you can also get an idea of what it's gonna look like when I'm finished. Doesn't wanna let me put that piece there? Oh, look at that. Perfect example of what I want it to look like. We'll grab the fattest generator we can. Obviously, be realistic for whatever works for you in your settlement. If you're gonna be copying this build layout, you can only afford to do a 5 or a 3, do a 5 or a 3. I'm gonna slap a 10 back here, and then the rest of this power will be fed throughout using these power pylons. I'll set 1 up there, as well as 1 on the other corner of this building. We don't want a bunch of power pylons scattered all throughout, and we can also use the lighting fixtures to act as conduits slash pass-throughs themselves. We'll only use a couple of those power pylons, and then I'll probably slap a bunch of these throughout later in the build as well. So I think as a general layout, I'm actually really liking the way that's looking. So again, some hotel rooms or hotel-esque style rooms will be over here on the left-hand side. Those will all be 1x1s that I'll just piece together by slapping some walls on each side, and obviously I'll line them up a little bit better on top as well. The back left-hand corner is going to be the power corner or generator room or whatever you want to call it. It's not going to be closed off. It'll remain open as it is. This main hub is going to be 2 settlers that are actually assigned to this location as farmer and guard, and then he's got his guard stand on the left side of this welcome shack, but he'll also have like a secondary restroom slash sleeping quarters over here, and I might even slap down another tower so he can kind of pass between both of those 2 towers. Yeah, and then also what I think I'm gonna do is for people that supported my previous videos or just left positive comments in general on my other videos, I think I'm gonna put a list of like 10 or 15 of my top favorite comments, and I'll put them out and display them. I think that might be pretty cool. Okay, so where do I want to begin? I think the easiest thing to do right now is gonna be to clean up these hotel rooms that I was already getting ready to start building, only because I was able to actually get these lined up really nicely, and they're already pretty much sunken into the ground. Barely need to sink those into the ground a little more to get the clean look I'm looking for where it's not floating. Might take a little bit longer than I was anticipating, so if you enjoyed the first part of this, at least, be sure to show your support by dropping a like, and then leave comments for any other locations you might want to see me build at, or other games you want to see me play in general, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any content that's soon to come. And you can also turn on the notification bell as well. Anything that you do to support this channel, I greatly appreciate, and it helps me out a lot. Enough about that. I lined those bottom ones up, I feel like, pretty well. Obviously, there's a teeny tiny little gap on the front there now, but when I go into the wooden walls here and I put these doors on the front and grab these stairs, that is what will close off the front there. So now it's not floating anymore and it looks much better. So story number 1 is done, at least the fronts. We need to put walls on the backs and sides, but that's gonna be a piece of cake. What I need to do is get up on top of this and make sure it is lined up perfectly with this top piece, because if not, it'll come out looking really poopy, and we don't want that. Okay, that's actually pretty perfect. Okay, we got that left-hand side. Come check here. Okay, that's all looking pretty good. All right, I think that'll be pretty solid, just like that. And to make this a little bit easier, actually put these ones down, because they have those rear walls. Slap a rear wall one down, and that looks pretty good and lined up. That one might be a tiny bit off, but I don't think that will be noticed at all. What I do need to do, however, is make sure that I provide like a little walking path in front of each of these units, up top at least, so that these people can walk into their units safely. There we go. So then we'll have stairs running up on either end of that, maybe. I'm gonna have to do the same thing on both sides, otherwise it'll look bad. So we do that there, get rid of the pole. That's good. The farm won't actually go all the way to this wall. I'll probably cut it off literally on the left-hand side of this staircase right here. Okay, and then we have this single block back here. And what we'll do to fix that, actually, there's nothing that we actually do have to do to fix that. We'll put the walls on there and that'll fix that. But what I can do here is put some fences down, and I think these will look the best. These always typically look the best. All right, so we got fences there, do the same thing on this side, and then put our doorways on again. So yeah, that provides just enough walking space for them to get into their little bungalow entrance, or whatever you want to call it. And then to ensure that they don't fall off, we'll also go with the same one so it looks consistent across the board. What is it, this one? I can't remember. All right, let's take a look at that. Take a step back and see what we got here. Let's actually make it daytime as well, because it's gonna be way too dark to be able to see anything. All right, now that I'm feeling well rested, let's take a peek at our little motel over here. Okay, I think that looks pretty good, and it doesn't look,
Crop's coming in pretty good.
You said the same thing as me, but about a different thing. It doesn't look too unnatural or anything. I might have to put come up with some sort of idea for pillars to put underneath this staircase so it doesn't look weird and floating, but that shouldn't be too difficult to figure out. And to keep some liveliness to it, so none of these walls are like flat, we'll make sure we use these guys as the end caps. Can we use one here? Is it not gonna let us? Okay, so we can't use one there, but what we might be able to use in place of it is one of these. But how will that look? We're testing things out here, people. We're testing things out here. It's got some shape on the bottom still. The top side pieces might look a little flat, but as long as we switch them up, it'll still give them a different feel. We want these to look as worn and torn and built up by these settlers as possible. Okay, the only thing we need to do now to these is close off the bottom back sides, because I didn't do the same up top as I did, or I didn't do the same below as I did up top, I should say. So we'll fill these guys in with just these. We want them to have some decoration space in here. And I might even use the pillar glitch to slide a couple of these guys in here as well. I'm not gonna worry about that actually right now. We just wanna ensure that all of the walls are done, which they are. So now that we've gotten the general structure for that put up, I'll come back over into this corner and fix this fence now, because it's looking hideous. And we also don't want this floating, so we want to build a platform for that generator. So as you can see in this backhand corner now, looks like I've got the power section completed. I got the main pieces down, so I used, let me double check. Yeah, I used the warehouse prefab floors for this. So I used 4 of them and then just kind of fused them together. I'll give an example. I put one down, and then instead of clipping them together side by side, I was able to just piece 2 pieces together kind of like this, stacked on top of each other, and that is how I made my platform. So that being said, I stuck those 4 blocks back here, added a couple 2 steps down at the bottom, and then another double step up to get to the actual generator itself. And then this, And then this fence here closes it off. Obviously the stair sticks out just a tiny bit, but it wasn't enough that bothered me, and it looks pretty good. I don't actually even know if this needs a double fence. I might just completely get rid of these. I don't know, honestly that doesn't look too bad, and it's already fenced in and of itself, so I don't really think it needs a double fence. I was just doing that because I felt like it looked kind of weird just having concrete platforms floating around back there, but maybe I'll be able to slip something else back there, like some shrubbery or something that can cover up a little bit of the rough edges. Other than that though, I did have to slide this building back into the left just a little bit, so that also forced me to have to move these walls around behind it some, so I had to put in a little half wall here and then continue it on behind, obviously using the pillar glitch once again to sink some of these walls into the ground enough to where they're not floating, and then this half wall doesn't really belong here, but using that same method you're able to slip it in there, and it actually looks really natural because it almost feels like this goes with the slope of the hill a little bit. It slopes down here and so does that wall. I actually kind of like that, and I'm happy with the way it came out. And then we just got to finish off these little shops over here and decide what we actually want them to be. I quickly want to show you how I am going to set these prefabs up. I'm actually going to use the given trader shops and slide these inside of these prefabs, and I'll show you how I do that using the pillar glitch again. How I wanted to set this up is clothing, so we're going to do a trader. The trader will be the nearest one. I don't know if I want to do the full storefront like this one is, or if I just want to do the simple little guys. These might look nicer depending on how they stick out of the front, but I'll put those down for now. So I'm gonna do a trader. I'm going to do food and drink, which is being really weird right now. Come on, quit being a huge pain in the ass. Just fucking sit in there properly. Why is it acting like this is non-existent? Okay, there we go. So, like I was saying, general trader, food and drink, even though it says bar. And then the last one that we'll do, so trader, food and drink. I think armor and weapons would be more suitable for like a raider establishment or something that, or like a settlement that was looking to provide its settlers with arms because it was going to be a large settlement and they needed to defend themselves. However, in this case, since there's only going to be 2 settlers here and this is more of a hub and trading post, it might be better to have a clinic, or I can just put a little clinic inside of this building. Maybe that's a good idea. So maybe this will be like the welcome hut slash, hey, I'm here to get healed up real quick. I like that. So we'll keep the clinic in there. So that gives us a little more space to mess around. So we got a trader, we got a bar, and then the last one will be clothing or weapons. What is more important? So we'll give them a clothing one. That might be a poor choice on my part, but let me know what you guys think. If you were limited to using only 4 of these shops and this was a trading post, what would you do? I think this is what makes the most sense. You can trade junk, you can get some food and beverages if you need it before you leave again, and then you can get cleaned up and get some nice new clothes on if you need that as well. The last 2 actual build structures that I didn't plan out are supposed to go in this back corner, and they're really easy, so I'll do that now because I use these guys as little porta-johns. So just to the left of this wall, we'll put one of those there so they can use the outhouse there. And then because there's such a huge gap in between these 2 because of this wall, what I'll do is I'll put another one back here. Maybe even angle this one a little bit since there's like a kind of an entrance, it seems like, right there. Maybe I can just turn this one completely sideways even. That might make more sense to do, because then you can walk in and around just like that. Sink that into the ground as much as we can. Might even be able to do it a little bit more since that raises it. Oh, no, that's as low as it goes. Okay, perfect, that works. Slap a door on there, slap a door on there, and then we'll mark those as men and women later. Okay, so now we know what these are going to be. We're not gonna make them huge. I think I'm going to keep these simply 1x1s and just open this front face up so this sticks out, and then I'll put like a shelf on the back wall of each of these and maybe like a little desk or sitting area for the person that's running the shop. So back to doing one of these so you can get an idea of how to do it. Got the prefab, go back into the wood. We're going to grab some of these walls now. And again, we want the walls that aren't just flat and have some roof on them to give this a little bit of texture and not make it just look like a round box. Then we'll go to the very end and grab another one of these guys to put it on the right hand side, and then one for the back as well. So now that we've got all of those faces done, if you ever want to add decorations into these walls too, you can usually slip one of these in here. And if you can't, then you can just slip it on the, or set it on the ground, I should say. This is what I was trying to do in the hotel earlier as well, was grab one of these and just slide it up against this wall. But it's floating if I do that. So we want this bottom to be flush with the bottom of this, because if you're on a wood surface, you can't go down through it. So make sure those are both flush, and then you can slip it in here and make this a flat wall. Just like that. It doesn't really remove... Oh shit, I just deleted it. What I was going to say before I mistakenly deleted it, was it doesn't really take away too much extra space, because as you can see, you can't really even go past these pillars anyways. All it allows for you to do is, you know, add more decorative pieces on the wall because it's flat. So I can now go in there and still put posters and whatnot on this wall, or paintings if that's what I prefer. Okay, so we got a main entrance, so this is the door that they'll go in through. We're going to use these wire fence kind of doors. Now going back into the wooden walls, what I should be able to do is get just a regular wall, and because this... Wow, that was loud. Because this bar is so much bigger than some of the other like beginner shops, I would usually stick one of these here and just extend out the front of the shop a little bit and then slip this in here. But these swinging doors kind of take up a lot of space and almost the full width of this little hut. So I think what I'll do instead is I'll get just one of these flat walls like this one, and I'll slide it down into that gap using, again, the pillar method. There's a lot of pillar glitching in building if you want to get things to look nice and unique. Definitely keep that in mind, that pillar glitching is key and useful as hell. I had it orange there for about a half a second. There we go. And then we're gonna have to finesse this height. I don't know exactly how tall that store is, so I'm going to put it here for now, and then I'll just go back and grab this and do some measuring and see where we want to get it. So we definitely want that significantly lower. We want it so that the top of this wall is flush with the top of the bar, and then we want it to ever so slightly stick through so that this little shelf on the bar kind of acts like a table on the outside, and we can stage it with some stools or something. So I'll set this off to the side again, and we'll grab our wall back out, and we'll kind of remember where it was. All right, there we go. And it actually looks like that is pretty much going to be perfect for what we're looking to achieve. So if you look at the bar sign up top, we want to get that sticking out just a little bit so you can still read it, but you don't want the whole front of the store sticking out and through. So that actually looks pretty good. The front of this sticks out just a smidge, the front little metal portion, but then that acts as like a sign kind of in a way, where you can maybe put like an open or close sign down there. Might actually be the best idea for that, is to put an open and close sign down there, if I can find where that lives. Power, open, close. Yeah, I don't know, something like that might actually look pretty good. Obviously it's not powered up right now because I haven't hooked up the power to any of the other buildings, but there's that. And like I said, these shops are a little bigger than some of the lower tier ones, so we didn't need to use the front face or the prefabs to slip it in there, but you can use the prefabs if you like that, instead of just sinking a half wall into the ground. You get a good basic idea of what each of these is going to look like. So I'll build the rest of these out, and then once I'm done with that, we'll come back, we'll build out the guard shack, and then I'll probably add some like footpaths around the village to spice it up and make it a little bit nicer, and then maybe pop in another 1 or 2 guard shacks as well as turrets for defense. Once we've done that and then swapped up some of the farm goods, whatever you want to call it, that's in this area in front of me, I think once we've done that and, you know, decorated the interiors a little bit and added some lighting, I think we'll be able to call it good at that point. So like I said, for the 3rd time now, I'll build those out, and then you'll see me back in just a few seconds with 3 more beautiful buildings. So give me just a moment and I'll see you.